An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show, start.
I said a couple of times before we were getting ready to actually get to this group that I wasn't familiar with them, but I was wrong. I am familiar with them. I just did not know their name, and I didn't quite know the story either. So, former South Korean girl group Four Ladies debuted in 2014 and then disbanded perhaps in 2016, which makes for a very, very interesting story. So the members were Yesul, Chani, Jaeyoung, and Jae-na. And members Chaney, Jaeyoung, and Jae-na, they were in a group called MOA, and that debuted in February 2014. And they were performing together as a trio since December the previous year. And at some point or another, they kind of left that, moved on with their lives. They released a song, but they were like, no, we're definitely going to do something different. And it's going to be four of us this time. So they were with a group called Jade Contents Media. And they were the ones who revealed the teaser for this big deal video called Move. I remember when this video came out and I was unable to see it because it had a block on it by the time I paid it any attention. It had a 19 plus Korea block on it. So had I watched it in the year that it came out, this wouldn't be an issue. I would have been able to see it with absolutely no problems whatsoever because we don't have the same stipulations for viewing certain things here in the United States. But Move, this song that's ultimately about a partner singing to her partner. I'm not picking a gender. A partner singing to her partner about the flusters of being in love and getting ready to physically experience that. And it was such a controversial thing because there was a lesbian couple themed music video and the choreography for it was a lot. Like you got them wide leg open, grinding the air and whatnot. Things that you see the male groups do when it's a live concert versus not necessarily a video. So controversial because that's not the light that was commonly seen for female artists, but it wasn't new. And it was most certainly not new to K-pop because guys do it almost all the time. So they released 2 teasers and they were provocative as all get out. The label, Jade Contents Media, was like, look, we don't really care what y'all say. We not cutesy wootsy. We not little girls. We're promoting grown women. And, quote, our strategy is to show raw sexiness. The teasers are just the tip of the iceberg, end quote. I respect it. If you just going to go out here and just try to disrupt the whole idol scene as best as possible, then boy, have at it. So they released the video 2014. Now, let's go back into the history of me. We've talked about it a few times in the show. I got into K-pop in 2012. I was in Korea from 2017 to late 2019. There was ample time for me to see this video. Never bothered, never gave it any thought until I was in Korea. But it came out August 1st, 2014. And I know for a fact that some prominent MV reactors definitely have reactions to this still up on YouTube. I know for certain because I checked before I did this. So August 1st, 2014, 4L, which again stands for Four Ladies, if I hadn't said it already, but I'm convinced I did earlier. They released the full MV. That bad boy reached over 2 million views by August 7th. They reached 1 million in 4 days and then 2 million on August 7th. And I'm inclined to believe that a lot of university and college students had a lot to do with that. Not necessarily an international fan base, but just that right there within Korea. And suffice it to say, that's who they promoted to quite a bit. They did a lot of their live performances there. I swear I saw something on YouTube that had them at Mnet Countdown. I keep saying Mnet Countdown. It's not that. It's Mnet M Countdown. But I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. That could have been fan made for all I know. But Move still gained some real traction. Move was the 5th most viewed worldwide Korean music video on YouTube in August of that year. That means it went far beyond what Kara did, what Secret did, and even former Summer Queen's Sistar. So it made a mark. It was released on the Korean websites the 4th of August, and on the same week, it entered the Gaon social chart at number 4. So they were really kicking butts with it, really were. And they also performed it at university festivals. Again, like I said, they were catering to and intentionally targeting the adult market. And it worked. They also performed another artist called Lee Moon-se's Flaming Sunset, and their debut song, which we've talked about, Move. They did it with different outfits and a less provocative choreography, but it was most certainly still provocative. Not in much of comparison to the actual debut video. Aha, okay, I was wrong. I said M Countdown. It was not M Countdown. It was SBS Inkigayo. And that was their only TV appearance. It was their only TV appearance. It was September 14th of 2014. So you got all this momentum behind the so-called controversial group. They did some performances in Manila, and they also had some changes by the time all of this magic was done. So at the end of the year, a member departed. Yesul left the group. She said it was just extreme exposure. It was just too much for her. I think that's a healthy decision to make. She got out of it. She re-debuted as a solo artist and did the best that she could with that. In 2016, they said that a different 7-member girl group would be active under the name 4L. So I guess it went from being 4 ladies, FOUR, 4 ladies, to just 4L at this point in time, more intentionally. But I don't necessarily know if it came to fruition, because what happened was a lot of the members just started pulling out or transitioning to other artistry, such as trot. Jaina re-debuted as a trot singer. And she did that with a new name as well. So, I'm wrong. Hold on. Let me go back. Took my glasses off. Wait a minute. Okay, so she did debut as a trot singer, but she didn't do it solo. She re-debuted with member Jaeyoung. So both of them went on, created a duo under trot, which is a whole different genre of pop. It is still pop. It's not idol pop. And right now we're just looking at idol groups, but eventually we will get to trot. That's going to be a wild time in the sun, I tell you. But everyone was making all these transitions and whatnot. And since nothing was formally announced, it's just safe to assume that they disband. They've not done anything else together as a foursome, as a 7, or any other numbers in between. And that is basically the story of them. They had that one single, Move, and then life just went on. They had a moment. I find the timing of this very hilarious, because floating around on the internets right now, specifically Twitter, there's this little scramble where you're encouraged to take a screenshot, and it tells you what label you're on, your role in the group, how many group members, what type of song your debut will be, what scandal you're associated with, if you're a flop or not, and what do you do after your life as an idol. And I got a real crappy one. Quite a few other people responded to me on Twitter and showed me theirs, and they were better. A lot of them went with their second or third choice, which means that they were cheating the system. So that means they probably got something horrible the first time too. But these ladies pretty much had, we had one song and it was so-so. It did enough numbers to get attention, but we flopped ultimately, and now we've just gone on living. They had a scramble experience. So I don't know. Hopefully they're all thriving in their own right. Maybe somebody is doing songwriting. Perhaps the trot duo is still doing the best that they can. I don't know. And suffice it to say, I'm not going to even look it up. If we get to the J's and I happen to see their name again, then cool beans. If not, then, This concludes my history with them, my interaction with them. So, were you a fan of this group? Had you listened to them? Are you familiar with them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can drop a message right on Twitter, or you can do it on Facebook. Anything that you can find, Multifaceted ACG, MultiFaceted I definitely want to know if you knew about this group. All right. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Your favorite foreign Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z.
There's sponsored ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my McGualas, the most amazing fan base a little entertainer could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the magic too. Interested in continuing your support at the free $99 price? I love you for it. You can still engage with the show when you retweet, repost, and share the show and use hashtag A3 and the word DAY. You can also tag MultiFacetedacg to get my attention. And if you're listening to this podcast on a platform other than Anchor.fm, please leave a few stars or a review to keep things growing in the right direction.